So hi guys, my name is Yuvraj Gembali and today I am going to explain you about periodic table of the element. Now, why the periodic table is very important? It is very important because it is chemistry. Meaning, most of the part in chemistry which we are going to learn is all based on these elements. Almost everything of chemistry is on these elements. So first of all, we need to be familiar with these elements so that we can more clearly get an idea of what is chemistry and how is chemistry designed, so that in further studies we can easily make it out, make get maximum benefit of the subject. So now, in order to study periodic table, we need to decode the periodic table in such a way that we understand each and every group and row of periodic table, and we can memorize the elements perfectly and in order, so that we get a maximum benefit of this table. Now this table gives the maximum information it can, and we have to learn the maximum information we can gain, as the periodic table, as I told you, is very important. Its importance, as we discussed before. Now I'll get my marker, and now we'll discuss about the elements of periodic table and how are they actually placed in their positions. So let's start. Now this is the first group of period. Just a second. This is the first group of periodic table. Now, as I said the term groups, there are 18 groups in the periodic table. As you can see, this is the first group and this is the 18th group. And there are 7 rows, 1 to 7. All the 18 groups and 7 rows are very important and they constitute the periodic table. You can imagine periodic table as a castle in front of a fort or something like that. But here the elements cannot be interchanged as the bricks can be interchanged. So let's start again from starting. This is the first group and the first element of the first group is hydrogen. Now we need to know that the modern day periodic table is based on the atomic numbers. The atomic number of hydrogen H is 1. The atomic number of hydrogen is 1, and that's why placed on the first position of the periodic table. This position of the periodic table is really controversial, as the first group is named alkalis. Alkalis meaning the bases which are soluble in water. But just a second, let me get the duster. Now hydrogen is not an alkali in the first case, and the second case is that it does share the chemical properties of both the first group and the 17th group, which we are going to learn later. The first group is of the alkalis, as I told. Now why do the first group share the same chemical properties? Before knowing that, we need to know what the chemical properties are dependent on. The chemical properties of an element are dependent on its valence electrons. I hope you can say this. Now you might already know what are valence electrons. Valence electrons are electrons in the outermost shell of an element. Now as I just told you, the chemical properties of an element depend on its valence electrons. Hydrogen has one valence electron. Now the electronic configuration of lithium is 2, 1. I hope you can say this, or shall I write it big? Wait, let me write it big so that you can clearly see it. The valence electrons of hydrogen is 1, and that of lithium is also 1, and that of sodium is also 1, and further on potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium, all the elements have the same valence electrons, which is 1. Now, you might be confused that I have written here 2 1, then how the valence electrons are 1. Valence electrons, as I told you, are the electrons in the outermost shell. So, here the outermost shell has only 1 electron. So, here we complete the first group of the periodic table, which is alkalis or alkali metals uh, to be precise. Now, the second group. Don't worry, there are only 18 groups, and out of which only 3 to 4 are very important and for this chapter. For this chapter in 10th standard especially. So, now let's go to the second group. The name of the second group is alkali earth metals. Alkali earth metals. Now, these are the elements who have who have two valence electrons in their outermost shell. Two valence electrons. In their outermost shell. I mean, valence electrons mean the electrons in the outermost shell. So, two valence electrons. Now, beryllium's electronic configuration is 2, 2. In the same way, magnesium's electronic configuration is 2, 8, 2. Like that for calcium, strontium, barium and radium, radium have the same number of valence electrons, which are 2. So they obviously share the same chemical properties. Now, as we move on to 3, it is the same case with 3, 4, 5 and all the groups, that they have same number of valence electrons and their valence electrons depict their group. Like if the element has 1 valence electrons, its group is 1. If it has 5 valence electrons, its group is 5. Like that, you can easily distinguish an element in which group it belongs to. If the element has 8 valence electrons, it is an inert gas and its group will be 18. So, from 3rd group to 12th group, they are known as transition metals and almost all of them are metals. So, that's it for the 3rd to 12th group, and nothing much, but the same as I told you, they have same number of valence electrons. So, now let's move on to 13. 13, 14, 15, 16. These are all families of certain elements. 13, as you can see, boron is on top, so it is boron family. 14, now for 14, as you can see, carbon is on top and it is carbon family. I am telling you these tricks so that you can easily memorize the periodic table, at least the main elements. 15, it is nitrogen, so nitrogen family. And 16, it is oxygen, so it is oxygen family. And as all the groups, these also have specific number of outermost electrons or the valence electrons, and all of them share the same chemical properties. Like all the elements in the boron family share the same number of valence electrons, and they share the same chemical properties. Now let's move on to 17th, which is very important and are known as halogens. And are known as halogens and are very important. Now they are known as halogens as they combine with the first group known as alkalis. So for example, I can name some elements like HF or HCl. HCl is very famous. Or like for example NaCl, as you know, sodium chloride. I am giving you the basic things, basic elements, so that you can remember them, like potassium chloride and etc. Now, why they bond with only, why they have bond with 17 have bond with 1 only? This is the main question. Because the number of valence electrons are always obviously different, but the valency of them is same, which is 1. Now we'll learn about valency in future. Now from groups, let's come to rows. There are 7 rows, as you can see. The first row, how are rows, basically how are rows formed? Like in first row there is only one shell. In second row there is only 2 shells. In third row 3 shells. Fourth row 4 shells. Fifth row 5 shells. Now why this happens? Why this happens is basically fact that they have one shell in the first row and second row has 2 shells. That's a fact. In that way you can easily remember the number of shells of any element. Like for example sodium, third shell. Now how can we find it is in the third row? How can we find it? If we know the atomic number of sodium, which is 11, we can find both of them. 11 means electronic configuration is 2, 8, 1. So from 1, which is the valence electron, we can tell its group that it belongs to the first group. And from the number of shells, which are 3, we can tell that it belongs to the third group. This is in one way the address of the element. As we have our addresses, our house addresses, like flat number 1, flat number 2, etc. This has group number 1, row number 3, sodium. For lithium, group number 1, row number 2. For beryllium, group number 2 and row number also 2, because its electronic configuration is 2, 2, meaning it has 2 valence electrons, that is second group, and it has 2 2 shells, which means that it is in the second row. Now this was about rows and groups. If you have listened patiently till here, then you might understood that the valence electron tell the group and the the shells tell the rows. So from here let's move to the term valency. Now what does valency mean? So yeah, I'm not erasing it. So valency means the combining capacity of an element. What does combining capacity exactly mean? So combining capacity means the number of electrons an element can gain or can give. Like sodium Na, electronic configuration 281, can give 1 electron, so its valency will become 1. And in the same case, chlorine, whose electronic configuration is 287, and and how many electrons can it gain? It can gain 1, right? Now why does an element gain or lose electron? It is simple. An element gains or lose electrons to attain stability, which means there should be 8 electrons in its outermost shell, which means as they all the elements want to become as the inert gases like neon, argon, krypton, xenon, etc., who have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So an element either gives or takes or shares electron with other element so that its octet is complete, meaning it has 8 electrons in its outermost shell. So for sodium, the nearest electronic configuration is of neon. Is of neon. So it will try to give one electron, and chlorine, it is argon. The nearest electronic configuration, inert electronic configuration is of argon. So it will take one electron from sodium, if we can say, from sodium it will take. So how many electrons is sodium giving? 1. How many is chlorine taking? 1. So both of their valency will be common and it will be 1. I've taken an example here, like if we go for MgCl2, then the valency of Mg is 2 because it is going to give 2 electrons to each chloride, and the valency of Cl will be 1 because I told Cl2 meaning MgCl2. So Mg electronic configuration is 282, meaning it has 12 electrons and its electronic configuration is 282. So the valence electrons are 2, and for Cl it is 287 and 287. Why I have taken 2 times 287? Because I wrote Cl2 meaning 2 chloride atoms. So as it is 7, it will take 1 electron from magnesium, and as the magnesium's valence electrons are 2, it will have to give one more to one more chlorine, and MgCl2 will be formed. So this is valency. The valency is the, so here the main thing is the valency of Mg will be 2 and Cl will be 1. So this was valency. Valency simply means the number of electrons the element gains or loses to become inert or to attain noble gas configuration. Inert gases are also called noble gases. So that was valency. Yeah guys, so as we stopped at valency, now next important topic is periodicity. So what is periodicity? So as per some scientists whose names are mentioned but I'll tell you later, every 8th element has some characteristics of first element and is a bit modified. This is because of the repetition of the same electronic configuration, like, or the same valency you can say. Now for example, we take an element from the periodic table which is hydrogen, no not hydrogen, from lithium. Okay, so what is the 8th element from it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th element is sodium. So let's write the valence electronic configuration of lithium. What is it? It is 2, 1, lithium. And what is the electronic configuration of sodium? 2, 8, 1. I hope it is big enough. 2, 1 and 2, 8, 1. Lithium I'll write, and sodium. So as we discussed earlier in the chapter, the chemical properties of an element depends on the electrons or valence electrons. So from lithium it is 2, 1, and for sodium it is 2, 8, 1. As I told you, from lithium the 8th element is sodium, and from sodium again the 8th element will be potassium. So they will share same number of valence electrons and their chemical properties will be the same. So this was periodicity. You can learn the textbook definition always, but for explanation you have to see some videos as this. So the next point is periodic properties. So let's come to that. Periodic properties. Now friends, I forgot to tell you that this chapter is going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be uploaded right now and the second part within next 1 week. So yeah, so in the first part I am going to talk about 3 periodic properties, and in the second part next 3 periodic properties, because the video will be lengthy. I think now only it is lengthy, but yeah, we have to continue a bit. So there are the first 3 periodic properties I am going to disclose in this video, which are atomic size, metallic character, and non-metallic character. So we'll go by them step by step so that everything will be cleared for us. So in atomic size, not only in atomic size, but all these characters have something in basic which we'll have to learn and understand so that we can go in depth. So first, all the characters of periodic properties, which the else 3 which I am going to tell you in later part of this video. So all the periodic properties depend on the size and the nuclear charge. See, if the atomic size means, I wrote here size, but actually it is number of shells. All the characters depend on the number of shells and the nuclear charge in one way. The number of shells has some variations which are very important throughout the chapter. Variations of everything should be memorized in a perfect way so that you can easily tell the number of shells. You can easily tell which element is more suitable for that property. So the number of shells. Now variations means down the group and across the period. So this property, this characteristic of a property, as we go down the group, the number of shells increases. Yes, right. As we can see clearly, hydrogen has 1 shell, lithium has 2 shells, sodium has 3 shells, potassium has 4 shells, and so on. The shells are increasing. So as we go down the group, the shells increase. But as we go, there is lot of written work here. As we go across a period, it remains the same. You can check it by yourself, but still I'll explain. Like for example, as you can see here, number of shells in lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon will be the same. Lithium has 2 shells, beryllium has 2 shells, boron has 2 shells, carbon has 2 shells, and so on. They have same number of shells. So the variations were simple. As we go down the group, the number of shells increase, and as we go across a period, it decreases. Now, nuclear charge. Nuclear charge is the charge with which the nucleus pulls the electrons present. Like, let me draw a simple electron structure or atomic structure, whatever. Now this is of hydrogen, and the the nucleus is pulling it towards it. Okay, so the nuclear charge means this thing, that the nucleus pulls the electrons towards it. That is called the nuclear charge. And now let's discuss the variations of it. So as we go down the group, the nuclear charge increases. Yeah, so it has simple explanation. As we go down the group, the number of electrons as in a whole are increasing, and the number of protons are also increasing. So the nuclear charge increases. And as we go across the period, it is the same, it again increases. Yeah, so these were some basic characters of the properties and variations of them. So let's come into the properties. Now the atomic size. As we know, the atomic size also will depend on number of shells and number of nuclear charge. So more the number of shells, I will write more the number of shells, more is the atomic size. Yeah, more the number of shells, more the atomic size. Now in nuclear charge, more the nuclear charge, less the atomic size. Why less? Simple. More the nuclear charge, more the pull. More the nuclear charge, more is the pull. So if the pull is more, then the electrons will tend to come towards the nucleus and the size will decrease. Like from this, it will become this. The size will gradually decrease. So more, less. I'm writing in simple words. This is for atomic size. Now, the variations. So first one, as we go, let me refresh this. As we go down the group, what do you think? What will happen to the atomic size? As we go down the group, the number of shells are increasing. From hydrogen, it's 1 shell, lithium, it's 2 shell, and so on. So as we go down the group, the atomic size will automatically decrease. Atomic size decreases. And as we go across the period, the atomic size, what will happen to it? The atomic size, sorry, my mistake, I wrote wrong here. The atomic size increases here because the number of shells are increasing. so the atomic size should increase, and as we go across the period the atomic size decreases. Now it's simple. Yeah, I think you can get it very easily. As the nuclear charge increases, more the nuclear charge, less the atomic size, because as I told you, more is the pull, and as we go across the period, the nuclear charge increases, so same logic, the atomic size will decrease. Okay, this was the first thing. Guys, I might have made mistake. One second, I'll tell you in brief. Guys, I might have made mistakes in this video as well. Everyone makes mistakes and that's common. So if you find a mistake, please do comment and I'll for sure try to improve or try not to make mistakes from next video. Yeah, so that was a small note. So as we completed atomic size, I'll erase it so that the burden will decrease. Yeah, so metallic character. So as the number of shells, let me write number of shells and nuclear charge. I tried to make this video small, but it's getting big, I think. I mean, it's getting lengthy. It's okay. Number of shells. So first we need to learn what is metallic character. Metallic character means the tendency of a element to become a metal. So what is the characteristic of metals? Metals generally tend to lose electrons. So if an element is losing electrons in a better way than another element, then it has more metallic character than the previous one. So number of shells. More the number of shells. Okay, before completing it, I want to give some more explanation on this. So as the number of shells increase, hydrogen, for example, again I am going to the same examples. I can go different, but for you to understand from one perspective, I am taking the same examples. Hydrogen has one shell and lithium has two shells. Okay, so as hydrogen has only one shell, it has more nuclear power or nuclear charge on it, or more power to attract, but lithium has two shells, so it has less power attracting on the valence shell. So as more the number of shells, more the metallic character, because more the number of shells, less is the power on the valence shell, and the electron can easily be lost. So yeah, that was first. And more the nuclear charge, obviously less will be the metallic character, as more pulling is there from the nucleus and the electron will not tend to lose easily and it will not be a metal. Yeah, that was simple. Okay, this was the characteristics. Now let's go to the variations. Across a group, I'm sorry, messed up a bit. Yeah, down the group, some mistakes are happening. Yeah, so let's write now. Down the group, as we go down the group, the metallic character will obviously increase, because as I explained, as we are going down the group, more number of shells are there and the metallic character will increase. As we go down the group, increases, I am writing directly. What will increase? Metallic character for sure. And across the period. So across a period, there is more nuclear charge. Obviously everything has exceptions. I am not mentioning them here because they're important. You can learn them from the textbook. They don't have much explanation. Yeah. So across the period, what will happen? The nuclear charge will obviously increase and as the nuclear charge will increase, more power will be on the electrons, as I told you, and across a period less or decreases, the metallic character decreases. Okay, now we reach to the end part of the video. Yeah, hope you are happy for this. I know it may be a bit boring, but this is what basics are. If you are strong at here, then you can master chemistry as per me easily. Now non-metallic character. So non-metallic character is opposite of metallic character in simple words. More the number of shells, less is the metallic character, because non-metallic character, because non-metallic character means gaining electrons, and more the number of shells, less is the nuclear power acting on the last shell, and the electrons tend to lose. So more the number of shells, less the non-metallic character. And nuclear charge, I am again rushing here a bit because the video is becoming lengthy. More the nuclear charge, more the non-metallic character. Why? Because more the nuclear charge, electrons will not be lost easily, and in fact electrons will be gained. Yeah, so more the non-metallic, more the nuclear charge, more is the non-metallic character. Now variations, last part. Yeah, again I don't know why I write across a group. Okay, down a group. Now you will have to comment this below. Nah, I was joking, but if you can comment down, don't cheat. Okay, yeah. So across a group, the non-metallic character will obviously decrease, because the same reason down a group, if I said across a group, I'm sorry, down a group, the non-metallic character will decrease. The reason I'm not going to tell, because you will feel bored. The same reason again and again. The reason is, I'll have to tell. The reason is, more the number of shells, less will be the nuclear charge on the last shell, and the electrons will tend to lose, will tend to get away from the element, and it will become a metal. Okay, from more the nuclear charge, okay, across a period, okay, across a period it increases. The simple reason, more the nuclear charge, more across a period the nuclear charge increases, and obviously the electron will not lose, in fact it will gain, and it will become a non-metal. Yeah guys, so that's it for this video. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel for further videos. And yeah, please do comment your feedback, what improvisations can I make, so that I can provide more quality content to you. And the part 2 will be coming soon. Stay awaited. Thank you.